Hi everyone, this is Effie aka Benuma. I'm back. I'm in a much better mood than I was in yesterday, and I hope that we can continue this discussion with a lot of fun. So, today's question is really simple. What is a helpmeet? Dun-dun-dun. So, the reason I'm asking this question is through our discussions over the last few days. Somebody said that his reading of Proverbs 31 was a simple example, reiteration, and emphasis that woman was created to be man's helpmeet. And Proverbs 31 was just telling us how to be that helpmeet. And I actually agree. Now, I'm going to tell you why I agree by looking at this definition of what a helpmeet is. So I pray that God gives me the right words to use to make this as simple as possible. And thank you to everybody who's been responding. I'm putting these videos out because I really would like to explore these issues more as I grow in my faith, and I hope that it's helping some of you as well. So, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 says, "Then the Lord God said, 'It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him.'" Verse 20 goes on to say, "So when Adam had given names to all the birds of the sky, the wild animals, there was still no helper just right for him." Now, in other versions of the Bible, it says, instead of a suitable helper, it says someone who would complement him. Some say a help that is suitable for him. And as we know in the King James, and I think the New King James Version, it says a helpmeet. So what happens to this word helpmeet? In 1670, there is what many scholars and theologians have said was a error in editing or in translation that took these two separate words that had previously appeared hyphenated, help hyphen meet, and turned it into one word together to call it helpmate. Now let's take that out of the equation because that's not quite what the Bible was trying to say or the Hebrew language was saying. Now in the help hyphen meet, we can actually find the true meaning of what a helpmeet is. Now I feel that in modern Christianity, we've grown up expecting a helpmeet to mean a domestic woman, a woman whose role in the world and in society is to take care of the domestic and menial tasks that perhaps the man was not made or capable or interested in doing because he had to go into political life. He had to lead and be an authority. So then we take a very, I would like to say, Western 1950s view of what that is, and say the woman should be at home. She should be tied to domestic activities like cooking, like cleaning, like taking care of the children, and so on, which is fine because there are many societies and cultures that believe that live that way, and I don't have a problem as a woman with those things. But what I have a problem with is when that becomes the box in which women are allowed to exist. Now, I'm sure as you watch this, there'll be people who would like to research more, and some may argue that I'm taking what is called an egalitarian or feminist view of Christianity, but really I'm just trying to make sense of it for my life in terms of a woman who will one day be a wife and a mother, who will one day be an influencer, and I want to make sure that I'm living out my faith to the fullest of my ability. So let's go for it. Helpmeet is originally in Hebrew these two words. I don't want to say them incorrectly, but I'm going to have to say them at one point. The first word, ezer or azar, is the help part. But the question is, what kind of help? When we look at the English language, it is limited. And we know that through the reading of the Bible. When we think about how the Greeks have 8 different words for love, when we think about how other places have 100 different words for snow, we realize that English can become a reductive language. So when we say love, we use the same word for different contexts. So what kind of help was ezer? This is a word that had been used 20 times in the Bible, and each of those times it was used in reference to help from the Lord, help from God. In Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 29, it's used to describe God as our shield. So in each of the examples, it's a help that comes from a place of strength and of power and of knowledge. It's a help that is grounded. It is a help that is total. So if we look at a metaphor we could use is the Israelites and God, Adam and Eve. So the Israelites were not complete. They needed help to do things that they could not do. So they called on God. God saw Adam and realized there are things that this guy can't do. I've made him, but it's not good for him to be alone because he can't do certain things. So I need to create someone that is going to complement him, someone that is going to help him be a source of strength, of power. Now, this is not a strength that is below or under. That hasn't come yet into the discussion, but it is a help that is of strength and power. And so I would like to ask where else we've seen the word Ezer. And so I realized in my research that it comes up in the name Ebenezer. And the name Ebenezer means a stone of help. This is a strong image. This is not any kind of help from a weaker thing. It's a strong help. So that's that word. Now, there's a scholar called David Friedman, and I'll try and put up the link to where I found this information. But he argues that the word Ezer is a combination of Hebrew and Canaanite root words, and they are 1, to rescue, to save, and 2, to be strong. So that's that part. Now the second part, this word. We're going to talk about that tomorrow.